How do you do that? That's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
Hey, everybody. Max. Oh, I'm sorry. M. Diddy in the house. What's happening, buddy?
What's up, S-Dubs?
Happy to be here today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Understanding CBD. A gentle reminder that thanks for tuning in, and not to take anything that's said on this show today as medical or legal advice.
Right, because the only person that gives the best advice around here is Rod Barowie. Now,
right.
Don't take our professional medical or legal advice. This is just for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Right. Building bridges between people and cannabis.
Wonderful.
That's what we're doing. And the hemp plant, for sure. We're doing a live show today, as we always do every Sunday from 2 to 3, so the phones are open. If you're a regular listener of the show, you know the number. If not, it's 410-922-6680. We love your input to the show. We have some awesome things that are happening today. But if you don't have a radio, you can also listen to us on the website, understandingcbd.com. Isn't that right, Max?
That's right. You can click on the button that says Listen Live to the show. You can also catch all previous shows, and we even start videoing our episodes lately, so you can catch the video if you're interested in putting a name with a face. Why wouldn't you?
I was just talking with someone earlier today, and they said it's like a total different experience between watching us and then listening to the podcast or so.
That's right. And just like the YouTube guys say, like and subscribe, give us some love. That helps us out. We appreciate it.
That's right. That's right. What else we got going on? Pass it. Hey, the song, man, in memory of Prince Marky D from the Fat Boys.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up in the 80s, me and you, so we know that old school hip-hop. And I mean, I got to tell you, Prince Marky D, he was like 52 years old. He was a radio star, too. He had another group after that. He was with the Fat Boys. They had their hits. Then he'd had another group.
Right, and before the Fat Boys, they called themselves the Disco 3.
The Disco 3. That's
Disco
right.
3.
That's right. That's right.
And I know both fans,
Big fans.
And this is our rap episode, right? Mm-hmm. So CBD in the place to be.
That's right.
We have a very special guest today. Before we get to him, of course, we're going to have Doc G in Doc G's Corner. We got Mail Sack coming later in the show.
That's right.
It's going to be really exciting. Now, we actually have a real rapper booked on the show today, Max. This is someone that you met, actually, when we were first launching the company a couple years ago.
Right.
You met as a local guy. What's the story with our guest?
Rich is a musician. He's a publicist. He's an entertainer. A hell of a nice guy, an educator as well. We were at a brewery, and I believe it was a release album party. And someone introduced me to MC Bravado. I like to call him Rich. He's a great guy. And we started talking to him, and while we had a booth there, and we were baby birding people, we were letting people try the product. You remember, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we talked to Rich.
Did you baby bird MC Bravado?
I think we did, if I remember correctly. He'll have to confirm in a second. He's smiling, so maybe.
All right.
But that's how we met him, and then I just kept the conversation going with him, and I think we built up a rapport, and I'm happy to have him join us today. It's really an honor. Really an honor.
Happy to be here, guys.
Thanks, Rich. And it's great to have you on here. It's great to see your face and have you join us. Rich is a Baltimore self-made guy. Right, Rich?
Yeah, I taught over at Lake Clifton campus high school English for a number of years. And summer 2018, I had the opportunity to jump on Vans Warped Tour, like the final cross-country installation of that. And that seemed like a good time to make the jump into music full time. So I've been doing that since then.
That's awesome, man. Now, I can't say that Prince Marky D was my favorite. He was one of the pioneers and one of the only people I could play on AM radio that are my favorites. I mean, of course, Run DMC were some of my favorites. MC Bravado, who inspired you to get into the rap game?
I mean, my influences will change pretty much every time I have the conversation. It's like too many to name. We recently lost another pioneer really on the lyrical side, and MF Doom, who he had passed away on Halloween, but it was like just announced New Year's Eve or whatever. But he's a big influence in terms of he really crammed a lot of like internal rhymes and technicality into his stuff. Lupe Fiasco is a big influence and inspiration. But I would say like what really got me like loving hip hop, just like the visceral reaction that drew me to the music, was the Fugees. When they put, the score out. I remember hearing like "Killing Me Softly" and I was like, "What is this?" kind of thing,
It gives you chills when I hear that song too. That moved you.
My dad's a tough critic. My dad's a musician too. He's been playing guitar for forever, and I remember showing it to him as a kid, excited, and being initially met with like a dismissive, like, "Well, oh, well, they're sampling Roberta Flack. It can't be that good. And then I played it for him, and he was like, oh, my God, this is better than the original one, you know? So that's how I knew I was kind of onto something, and I fell into, like, Nas and Jay-Z and guys like that. And, yeah, just been at it.
Nice, and that's making the classic music good again, you know, and bringing it up to date. You just launched an album this summer, right?
It's introducing a whole new audience to that type of stuff. Yeah, go ahead, Rich. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I put an album out called The Living Game that I basically made from the time where I quit my 9 to 5 throughout the time I was really getting my sea legs there that first year, really just being on my own. Obviously, a lot of self-doubt. You guys understand running a business. I mean, despite being a musician, that's what I'm doing. That's what I was doing, and having to figure everything out. Lost some people along the way, relationships changed along the way, but gained a lot of perspective of self and a lot of wins. So it's definitely a roller coaster of emotions kind of album, and reflects my eclectic taste, you know, in hip hop. So super proud of it. Definitely the best thing I've ever done so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And I want to drill down a little bit because you have some, you know, the video, we're going to give a clip of it later, is the new video you just launched, 4 a.m. What's the motivation behind that song?
That's meant to show that, like if you watch the video, there's a scene where I'm in like a stretch limousine by myself, and it's not, and I'm in this crowded bar, but I'm sitting by myself, and it's not meant to even though it's like an upbeat like tune and a feel good record on the outside, it's also meant to reflect kind of the emptiness that can come with success. And being aware of that, being aware of the fact that it's important to hold on to the people that matter and your relationships, you know, because it can get lonely quick, you know. So as you're moving up the ladder as an artist, holding on to your humanity and the people that you started with matters. So that's what that song is kind of about.
Yeah, that's cool. And then the one with Joe Rogan, which really Discourse, yeah. Right? Clever strategy too. Tell us about that song.
So yeah, that was driven by just, I mean, kind of what I've seen is an inability to talk to each other, depending on what side of the political spectrum you're on, and it gets frustrating because I'll see just on my personal Facebook who I know to be two extremely rational adults just going at it like, you know, children with no sense of decorum or respect for each other, and I don't know how you're going to gain allies like that, regardless of what side you're on. I don't know how you're going to meet in the middle or have a meaningful conversation. And I've always been a big fan of Rogan's platform for that, because he's going to sit down with you and he's going to talk to you and he's going to ask you tough questions, but he's going to listen to what you have to say. And whether it's teaching and having to do debate in my classrooms and instill a sense of decorum in those kids and just understanding how to talk to people, I think is a really crucial skill. You know, with social media comes a lot of passive aggression and creating this bubble that's your bubble, and any idea that isn't in sync with that becomes the enemy. And I just don't think that's a healthy way to think.
Rich, I wanted to ask you, why MC Bravado? Why that name?
So bravado is, you know, kind of a put on arrogance, you know, right? And I grew up very insecure. You know, tried my hand at a lot of stuff. I was decent basketball player, but like by and large, like sports weren't my thing. I was kind of a gangly, awkward kid with braces, you know, for a good bit of my teens, and like I just didn't have a lot of confidence. And through the writing, I found it. And at the end of the day, though, at least at that time, it was still, regardless of how confident I was on stage, it was still somewhat of a just there. That was the only place that I had it. So I still felt like to a degree it was a put on. But over the years, it kind of became my armor, and that confidence that I have up there started to trickle into my day to day. That's probably the best explanation.
Well, you know what? It's great about you, if I can call you Rich, is that you've learned a lot in your life. You're applying it in your life, but you're also giving back to people, especially in the community in Baltimore. You were talking about a program, Beats Not Bullets. If you can touch on that for a minute, it's pretty solid. What's up with that?
Beats Not Bullets. The guy driving it, Ogun, is like a, you know, shout out to him. He's like a Baltimore hip hop legend. He started that program. It kind of started also from something Chariz Marcel did, another artist here who's amazing. And me and Brandon Lackey my partner, who was the reason I met you guys. It was his event that I met you guys at. Brandon owns Lineup Room Studios, and he was also a educator, like I was in the city, at an alternative school for emotionally disabled kids, like a Last Stop school we both worked at. We weren't there at the same time, but we both, in addition to obviously having an extreme passion for music, have that passion for education. And I got to a point in the classroom where I was like, I think I could be more impactful outside the classroom if I create a big enough platform and move the way I want to move without like the shackles of the system, you know? And Beats Not Bullets is one of those things. We pick, there's applicants to the programs. They fall within the right age range and, check the right boxes for us. We bring them in and we teach them, it's all comprehensive. So you're talking about production, engineering, performance. One of the kids from the program, it was at the school that I used to work at, Reach Partnership, and I happened to be there. And I got with his teachers. He had attendance issues, but he had a ton of potential. And I talked to him. I was like, if you come to class and you come to the program, I'll bring you on stage with me at Soundstage. So when I opened up for Big Daddy Kane at Soundstage, he was on stage with me and got to do a verse. And that's what it's all about. When they graduate the program, we get them internships at studios, whether that kid now is an intern at Lineup Room Studio, which Brandon owns and I work out of. And we really try to get them a jump start in the industry and to continue to be there for them as mentors.
Nice, man. You're a smooth operator, just like Big Daddy Kane.
She mentioned Big Daddy Kane took it back. That's a good one.
We're going to take a break and be right back with stuff. We are going to get to CBD, folks, so stay with us. Welcome back to Understanding CBD. We got M. Diddy over there.
That's right. We got S-Dubs, I believe, over on the other side.
That's right. We're here with MC Bravado.
And what you just heard is 4 a.m. off of his new album, The Living Game.
That's right. That's some hot stuff right there.
Yeah.
So, we're here to talk about some CBD here, and we got some good stuff covered in the beginning and some background on MC Bravado. If you didn't join us earlier, he's a local guy, was a teacher and a rap artist and entertainer, really, and is spreading a really great message, So we brought to talk about CBD and how it's impacted his life, and we want to get to that. But before we do, you have two cats that are important to you, don't you?
Yeah, well, I have. So a few years ago, I inherited two cats from my sister who were like senior cats, and they're no longer with me. But I have one that I adopted, who basically came to my ex and I in the parking lot of a movie theater, like a cold and snowy night. So we named her Arya, like the Wanderer, after like Game of Thrones character, and. She is, like I am a hardcore cat dad now.
So listen,
hated than mine by a lot.
MC Bravado, listen, we got a little surprise for you. So we were talking on the other day, before the show, just to say, hey, making sure we're still set up for Sunday. And you mentioned, you asked us questions. Hey, what about CBD and using it for my cat? And Max and I are dog owners, so we're more familiar with that. We've worked with dog trainers, and we had some anecdotal information, at least, to pull from. Connecting with veterinarians has been difficult in Maryland, and I think there's some restrictions. But I put out in the universe after our call that I really wanted to get someone to give you some answers, right? Google, and it came back with some great results. We were able to connect with Dr. R. Okay, Dr. R. And I'm just going to say her name, Dr. R, just to keep her identity secret because it's hard to find vets, and I'm not sure why they don't want to talk about it, but just to protect her identity. But let me assure you, she's an expert. She's had a practice for 35 years in holistic veterinary practice. She is, a medical vet, so she has some experience. Dr. R, are you on the phone today?
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And our guest, MC Bravado, I'm not sure if you had a chance to hear the beginning of the show and his awesome song 4 a.m., but he's got a cat with some issues. It's a rescue, right?
Yeah. I've had her for about 2 years, and she got really sick a few weeks ago, like wasn't eating. We didn't know what was going on. Ran every test under the sun, ultrasound, everything. But it turned out after a biopsy and all that they think it's like irritable bowel disease. So I'm just looking into ways to, I guess, deal with that. And if CBD is part of that equation, that's awesome.
What do you think, Doc R?
Well, I would say it's worth a try. I I would recommend you start very low with just a few drops and move up. CBD doesn't help every cat that's out there, but bear in mind that digestive issues are very strongly connected to anxiety, stress, and CBD can help with that. Our digestive tract is just full of neurons, and it can. And as I said, if she's stressed or there's anxiety of some sort, then calming would definitely help. That'd be certainly one of the ways that I would help, and the other is I use a lot of homeopathy to turn around these kind of kitties.
What kind of things have you tried to do, Rich?
Well, I just got the diagnosis about a week ago, so she's on a prednisone, I think, the steroid or whatever. We just started her on that, and she's on a GI diet as well. So I feel like I could put the CBD, maybe a couple drops in with one of the snacks that she likes, and I'll do that today and just see how she starts to take to it.
So I recommend that you put it directly on her mucous membranes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's supposedly the best way for CBD to be absorbed.
Because the issues came when I left town for a couple of days. I have to leave town again on Friday, which I'm a little concerned about. So that I think you're entirely right, because whatever triggered that episode happened when I was gone.
Stress.
So, Dr. R, you're saying as far as giving a cat CBD, sounds like similar to humans as opposed to putting in their food versus right in their mucous membrane. You mean dropping it in their mouth, or?
Exactly. You can put it on the gum right above the canine or on the tongue. And it's only, I definitely recommend only starting with a couple drops and moving up. Because every cat is different as far as how they respond to CBD, and some don't respond at all. So, but it's, an individual dosing. But you have to start low.
Yeah, and Doc R, I know the first thing that Rich and most pet owners are concerned about is harm for their pet. And there's always wrong ways of using CBD and hemp and cannabis for yourself and your pet. Do you have any sort of quick warnings that maybe we can have our listeners look out for?
Well, the only thing I have seen in the research is they've found some elevation of liver enzymes, and I think this was in dogs. So the main thing is to use it as low a dose as you can, and perhaps not long term. Wait until to effect, and then maybe a week or two afterwards. And so I wouldn't use it as a long term supplement unless you're having blood work done on a regular basis.
Doc R, I want to ask you a quick question, and thank you so much for joining our show today. Do you have a lot of your patients come in asking about CBD? Just curious.
I would say maybe 10%, and I don't really, when not allowed to recommend it right now in Maryland, but I do have a lot of clients that ask about CBD.
Got it.
So
Thank you.
With homeopathy, I generally don't need a whole lot of supplements. Homeopathy tends to treat pretty much everything, and it treats the emotional status of the cat as well as the physical. But certainly CBD has its place for calming, for pain relief, appetite stimulation. So, it's a great tool, and you only need a couple drops. So that's what's great in cats. You don't have to give them a whole lot.
And they can't lie to you.
And they can't lie. There's no placebo effect.
Right.
That's right. Hey, Doc R, thanks for joining us today. We definitely want to talk about getting you back on the show and digging deeper into homeopathy when pets are concerned, because I know it's a big topic, and we really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for helping.
And I'm going to give up your identity because you didn't incriminate yourself here. That's Dr. Jennifer Ramelmeyer, right? And she's got a practice at Ramelmeyer. Thank you, in Clarksville, Maryland. So thanks for joining us and helping out Rich today and his pussy cat. That's right.
Aww.
That's right.
You're so welcome.
Thanks. So, Rich, now, of course, that's important, and we had to take that off your plate first so you could focus on telling us your story, because when we met, you tried our product, and I think it plays a unique role in the hip-hop world, because entertainers get nervous, just like everyone else, just for one thing. But tell us about your personal story. What role does CBD play in your life, and that like?
Well, So I took it. I started really taking it the year before I left for Warped Tour, 2017, 2018. And one time, one of my coworkers at the school was like, basically he was implying like I took an edible, but it was CBD. It was a chew. And I took it in the computer lab, and he was like, "Man, I can't believe you're taking like a weed edible in school." I'm like, "Dude, this is not the same thing. Like, this is not going to affect my train of thought. Like, no, this calms me down." And I've been passionate about it because I don't like, with cannabis in general. I'm sure you guys are much more familiar than me, but I just don't like how it would be accepted, like, say, in a teaching environment. It's accepted for, like, oh, we're going to go to happy hour and have a few drinks. Mm-hmm. I'm on X, Y, and Z prescription.
Well, teachers love doing that. Teacher happy hour?
Right. So fine. Like, teach their own. Do it. But I'm not going to that. But because I'm taking something cannabis-based, there's, like, you know what I'm saying? Which
it's
actually,
the stigma, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, way better for me, you know, and there's, like, something attached to it there. That's frustrating. But as far as, like, so I'm passionate about that because some people have said even since, like, oh, you're open about being a patient, you know, using CBD, using THC. I'm like, I am, because I think it's my role. People got into it like it would interfere with my image as an educator. But I'm like, I think it's part of my role to show I can be all of those things, and that it's, regardless of your role or your capacity, you could still be someone people look up to. Like, that's a ridiculous way to think.
Yeah, people can smell a fraud too, you know, and you know that from the rap game.
Absolutely. But to get into how it really helped me the most, I have irritable bowel myself, which is kind of crazy that my cat has it now. So it helped. I don't know about the nature nurture extent there. I hope it's not my fault. But
we can talk about it. We got a guest next week who can help with that.
That's for sure. Yep.
I started taking it, and it helped me there. But mainly when I went on Warped Tour, like, I had this habit of, before I did a show, you know, I'd like to have a few drinks. I'd be wound up about the show, preparing for the show, what we had to execute, and I'd have a few drinks. Well, I knew going into Warped Tour, if I'm playing 40 shows in a month and a half.
That's a lot of drinking.
Oh, yeah, you're going to need to wring out that liver.
Yeah, like, I can't do that. So, like, I had to figure something else out, and I was taking CBD every day, and I would take, you know, before my set and, like, throughout the day, and that, I didn't drink before any one of those shows that summer, you know, and that kind of says it all for me.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, you know, it really helped me take off the edge and just feel at ease when I was doing my performance without the need for alcohol. So that's another major key for me. And I take it every day since then. I really enjoy yours too, because it's just very, like, it just feels very clean, tastes clean, all that.
We appreciate that. Now, you know, is it, I guess on the tour, I mean, it's the people talk about, like, using CBD, or is it still, you know, most people using alcohol out there? And I know that now the cannabis and marijuana is legalizing all over the world, over the country. It's definitely opening up more. Are you seeing more and more of that at shows and whatnot?
Absolutely. Somebody who was on the way I did Warped Tour, it was like a MTV show. I mean, I jumped on an RV with like 7 strangers and slept on a kitchen table that converted into a bed. But one of the girls who was on the RV, Justine Markman, very talented singer, songwriter, she used it every day too. You know, so we instantly discussed that. And yeah, there were a bunch of other people that I met out there that use it. So it was more widespread than I thought in 2018, and obviously it's just gotten more popular since then. Because that's, for musicians, I think that's just a big thing, a way of feeling at ease without using something like alcohol or something that really alters your mind state, that takes away from the sharpness of what you're doing. You know, I could be sharp as can be and take it and still feel calmer, you know, so.
I think that says it all. I mean, it's always great to find something that'll take the edge off, that's a natural thing. And what better solution than something that you can also use for your pet, you know? I mean, it's a plant, right? That's what we come back to all the time. And if it takes the edge off, how could that be a bad thing?
You know, yeah, exactly. It's something obviously we love, and we appreciate you joining us to show. We got maybe about a minute or so left. What's next for MC Bravado? Tell us what's happening on the horizon for you.
True. I've got I got another video in the can this Friday. I leave for Florida. I'm shooting 2 more there, so I'll have 3 more videos in the can. I've got a remix to 4 a.m. coming out. Got another single coming out called "Yeah Baby" in the next 30 days.
Well, you got you got a big video down in Florida, right? You're facing a big cat, right?
Bring CBD.
What's going on there?
Yeah, I may or may not be signing a waiver.
What's happening? You have a big cat in the cage there. What's the setup?
Yeah, we rented a reserve. So if this tiger bites me, you don't
hear that every day.
If this tiger, I lost my screen there for a second. If the tiger bites me, it's my fault basically. So I don't want to give too much away as to why I'm doing this, but I promise there's a method to my madness, and this is not just me being a total.
All right, cool, man. Where do we want to send the listeners? Thanks for being on the show, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Where should everyone go to check out your stuff?
You can get me at Spotify, Instagram. Everything is MC Bravado. I'm not Drake, so I don't get cute.
That's right, folks.
Thanks for joining us, Rich. We appreciate it, man.
Yes.
Stay in touch. We'll be talking again. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Understanding CBD. I'm Stephen Wallman here with M. Diddy.
Max Sobel.
That's right. We're here to talk about our top gun, the only one, Dr. Benjamin Gonzalez from Atlantic Medical Wellness Center. Doc G, how are you today, man?
Gentlemen, I'm doing well, thank you.
And looking well, too.
Thanks. Thank you guys for having me. A quick note before I get into the Dr. G corner about that CBD for gut issues in both humans and animals. It is very safe and can be very effective for gut issues. The gut naturally has CB receptors, and as Dr. R said, for animals, it doesn't take a lot, and I highly recommend CBD for gut issues. And like I said, it doesn't take a lot.
You hear that, pet owners? And every other human living being listen to the show.
With a vertebrae.
Yeah, that's right.
With a vertebrae. Well, I am Dr. Ben Gonzalez, and this is Dr. G's Corner. Anxiety, whether as a temporary reaction or as a lifetime disorder, has the highest lifetime prevalence of any mental disorder. And the multiple medications used for this disorder have both short-term and long-term negative side effects. Many people with short-term or long-term anxiety bounce from medication to medication because of these side effects or the lack of consistent positive response. Don't get me wrong, many of these medications are lifesavers and I prescribe them, but people are looking for alternatives for better efficacy with less side effects. CBD has drawn increased attention as an alternative to both medications and to hallucinogenic effects of THC and marijuana. Preclinical scientific studies have shown full-spectrum CBD to have benefits in people with anxiety. Human trials comparing healthy volunteers without anxiety disorders to those with anxiety disorders have shown both effectiveness and safety in the use of CBD. A recent study published in 2019 in the Kaiser Permanente Journal was a large case series. They looked at individuals with both sleep and anxiety disorders to determine whether CBD helped improve people with sleep and anxiety issues in a clinical population. What they found was significant improvements in sleep and anxiety within 30 days of using CBD with zero issues with safety. The issue with this particular study and with most studies using CBD is inconsistent sourcing of CBD product and poor comparison with control. However, even with those issues, there was a powerful clinical trend towards significant relief of anxiety upon the start of CBD. This is a powerful step towards a better understanding for traditional physicians in the use of CBD and for helping the general population be more comfortable with the use of CBD. One of the major hurdles in getting people to understand that CBD is not marijuana when properly sourced, a full-spectrum CBD has less than 0.3% THC and has no hallucinogenic effects. In the advent of increased anxiety in this world, the problem with long-term use of pharmaceutical medications and the use of a properly sourced CBD can be safe alternative with improved effectiveness for anxiety and improved sleep, both of which are usually related. In my practice, I've seen full-spectrum CBD help hundreds of people improve their lives dramatically. But before you begin using CBD for anxiety, and if you are on medications, seek the advice of a knowledgeable medical provider and ensure you speak to the provider who prescribes your medications that you are considering using CBD. You can call my clinic anytime at 301-622-2722 and ask me anything concerning the use of CBD for your condition of concern. That's 301-622-2722. Well, guys, I hope that helped.
Always does, Doc. Thank you very much.
Yeah, extremely helpful. If you need anything, if your doctor isn't behaving, call Doc G. He's here to help.
He'll set him straight.
It's his day off. He comes in here giving us sound advice. We really appreciate it, Doc. Thanks for being here.
That's right, Doc.
No problem. Take care and have a good rest of your
And listeners, stay tuned. We have your favorite segment that everyone around town knows as
Mailsack.
Ooh, baby. So stay with us. We got some great stories left.
Folks, of course, this program is called Understanding CBD, and this is our segment where we finally get a chance to talk about our company. We, Stephen, are building a bridge between people and cannabis. Isn't that correct?
I like the way you stated that.
I like the way that sounded as well. This is our opportunity to share some stories with you and some personal experiences that we have had with customers. So I'd like to start it off with, Stephen, you've got a story about college students.
Yeah, actually, it was a strange week this week for college students in our world for some reason. There was two college students, one guy, one girl, reached out and wanted to. Actually, one was a reorder. Actually, they were both reorders.
Okay.
They've been existing customers, and the anxiety. It's college students with anxiety. College Park. They actually both happen to be students at College Park. And between the normal stress of just college life, you have restrictions and so forth. And I think there was a little bit of extra stress there on College Park this week because the cases may be going up and they may be threatening taking classes away and so forth. So the good news is, they like our product and they're using it. And I had a chance to talk to them about, what are other students doing to manage stress on campus? And of course, the same things. And he said some people are using the CBD gummies.
Okay.
Which I was talking to one of the guys and. People use the gummies, but he says they just do it as a recreation. They don't get the same results. So when he's used gummies and why he uses our product and recommends it to other people is because it actually absorbs under the tongue and the body gets to use more value out of that CBD. So if you take 10 milligrams of CBD, your body's going to use more of that 10 milligrams than when you eat the gummy.
So he probably felt something when he took ours versus maybe eating a gummy and just
right.
who
Yeah.
knows?
I mean, he's always his way of describing it was like I kind of felt a little bit of it when I used the gummy, almost nothing. But when I used your product, then I realized what actual CBD does.
There's something psychologically about something tasting the way that it's supposed to taste, right? I mean, there's something about that, and I think that plays a role for those who can appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's natural and it's tuned from the earth and it's meant to work with your body. Now the challenge was because it's not as sexy to use, or it's not as fun, or it's more clinical when you put drops on your tongue. It doesn't taste the same, it doesn't taste like raspberry gumdrops.
Well, it's not supposed to be recreational anyway. I mean, if you're trying to solve a problem, then I think that it would be more about how effective it would be rather than. You and I know that very well because we've tasted every possible thing that's out there.
I think the good part about the gummies that are out there, it does bring the barrier and make it a little bit more. Palatable for people to try.
Like if you asked your average person, would you rather take an oil under your tongue or would you rather chew on a gummy? I think everybody would likely say that.
And that's why I think it's a great way to get a foot into the door. It's a low way, a way for people to access cannabis in a non-threatening way.
It's different. And it's different. It would have to be higher concentrated, but it's nothing we haven't thought of, and you never know.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about one other thing, this mail sack, because it actually impacted us today before the show.
Right.
After the show last week, you got a call from a listener.
Yeah, I got a call from a listener. Her name is Mary. Very nice call, and she had a few questions here and there, but she was, I think, more impressed about the fact that, we answer our phones, we do this all ourselves, like we say many times before, that, she could ask questions and that we could take the order over the phone, and make it really easy for her. So I did. And unfortunately, we've had some shipping issues, right, that are outside of our control. President's Day, snowstorms, and then Stephen, you took a call from Mary.
So she called. I think it was Friday night, and at that point the the post office still said it may be there, and I started just having a little bit of flashbacks to a few weeks ago when we had problems. I said, look, be assured if there's a problem, we'll take care of it. But it says it should be delivered tonight. If not, it's probably definitely tomorrow. Anyway, got a call tomorrow, the next day, and long story short, so. Two important things. One is how she was going to use the CBD and what she wanted to use it for. She has a headache, very specific location, so she wanted to know how to use it topically, and was very happy to know that topically you don't use a whole dropper, you use 1 or 2 droplets. Very little drop. You can put on your finger and then apply it to that area, or drop it right on that area.
A little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, a little bit goes a long way, and use it as needed. Don't overuse it. Every 6 hours, I would say 5, 6 if you want. 3. Don't overuse it. The other piece was to use it under your tongue as an effective way to also help over time. To help with the headache. So, the other question she had was she was taking some OxyContin for pain, and she asked if she could stop taking one and replace it with a serving of CBD. And that's a big no-no. We don't give medical advice, obviously, but if you are taking medication and you want to try CBD, you do not stop your current medication and switch it with CBD. It just doesn't work like that. You can gradually work it in. And it shouldn't be looked at as a sudden shock to the body.
Speak to your medical professional. Speak to someone that you trust. And if your medical professional isn't prepared or for whatever reason isn't ready to have a conversation with you about CBD, reach out to us and we'd be happy to introduce you to Doc G. Doc G would be happy to speak to your medical professional, et cetera, et cetera. This is all about educating everybody and getting the message out. And I think Mary's ultimately going to be happy with the way that we took care of her as well.
Well, right. So then, she called back last night and was like, "Hey, it didn't come," and it's she had some stress going on. So I said, "Look, it wasn't too far from where we are, and we're on our road to the radio station." So I said, "Look, we'll drop it off tomorrow." So we dropped it off to her this morning. She should have it now. Hopefully, she got it, dropped it off at the door, and that's the kind of service we provide to our customers. We're a local band. They call us a 443 company, not a 1-800 company. That's why people love us.
They called us a 443 company. They sure did.
We answer our own phones. We're here to help you and build community around this plan. And like you so elegantly said, building that bridge between people and cannabis. It's just I can't think of a better mission for us to be on together,
I agree, brother. And I can't think of a better way to end this show by thanking some of our fantastic guests. We want to thank MC Bravado, Rich Croce. Thank you so much, Rich. Lots of success to you and to your album.
Yep. Dr. R, thank you very much for coming on board and helping us support our listeners with some veterinary help and words of wisdom, and we look forward to getting some more from you. Noah in the phone booth, hitting the big blinky lights, managing phones over there.
He's Clark
Kent looking like Mr. Cocktail. Still can't help it there. We appreciate you listening. Thank you, listeners. Max, thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you to Max and Stevens. www.maxandstevens.com. Please pick up a bottle for yourself, for your loved ones, for your pet. Call us or text us anytime, 443-743-2444. Catch all these episodes on understandingcbd.com. God bless you all. It's our 52nd episode, Stephen. What's that mean?
That was a year. 1 year. That's 1 year of the radio show. Can you believe it? We made it a year. Gary Stein, thank you very much for getting us started.
God bless you all. Take care. See you next week.